we will study self-inductance. In the previous class, we have studied mutual inductance. Whenever a current is flowing in one coil, induces an EMF in the another coil. The ratio of flux linkage in one coil to the current flowing in the another coil is a constant, and that we have called it as mutual inductance. Now here we are going to study self-inductance. That means we are having only one coil or the solenoid. The current is flowing in that solenoid. It produces a magnetic field. If we vary the current, the magnetic field is also varying. Now that magnetic field is linked with each and every turn of the coil or the solenoid. Now this varying magnetic field induces an EMF in the same coil, and that phenomenon we call it as self-induction. That is, if the current is flowing in a coil is varied, the magnetic field produced by that current is also varied. According to Faraday, this varying magnetic field or the varying magnetic flux linked with the coil is also changing. If it changes, an EMF is induced in that same coil, and that phenomenon we call it as self-induction. Now let me define self-inductance. Now consider a solenoid like that, or a coil having n number of turns. Now the magnetic flux linked with that coil, let current I is flowing in that coil, therefore because of that one magnetic field is produced, and that magnetic field is linked with each and every turn of the coil. Let phi b is the magnetic field linked with one coil, one turn of the coil, and since we are having capital N number of turns, then the product N into phi b we called it as flux linkage. Flux linkage of the coil. Now this flux linkage of the coil is directly proportional to the current flowing through the same coil that we have known already. That is, N into phi b is proportional to current flowing in the same coil. Now this is the flux linkage and this is the current flowing through the same coil. Now the proportionality, if you put a proportionality constant, that proportionality constant here we call it as L, denoted by L into I. Now this proportionality constant is called self-inductance. Now where L is called self-inductance, or it is also called as coefficient of self-induction. Therefore, self-inductance is equal to N into phi b divided by I. From this one we can define self-inductance. Self-inductance is the ratio of flux linkage of the coil to the current flowing in the same coil. Flux linkage of the coil to the current flowing in the same coil. Now that ratio is always a constant, and that constant we call it as self-inductance. Once again, it is a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity. Its SI unit is Henry. It is given in the name of Joseph Henry, a USA physicist. And its dimensional formula, same as that of the mutual inductance. That is M L square T raised to minus 2 A to the power of minus 2. That is the dimensional formula for self-inductance. Okay. So now, according to Michael Faraday, there is an induced EMF. The magnitude of the induced EMF is given by N of d by dt, minus sign d by dt of rate of change of magnetic flux. According to Michael Faraday, we have the induced EMF E is equal to minus of d by dt of n into phi b, that we know. Now substituting the value of n into phi b here, so I am getting minus d by dt of L into I. Since L is a constant, it is taken out. Therefore, the EMF induced in the same coil, that is, we call it as self-induced EMF. Why we are calling it as a self-induced EMF? Because the current is flowing in the coil and the EMF is induced in the same coil. Therefore, it is also called as self-induced EMF. Later onwards, we call it as back EMF. Since L is constant, L is taken out, d by dt of I. Now this is the expression for EMF induced in the case of a single coil. E is equal to minus of L into di by dt. Therefore, the rate of change of current induces an EMF in the same coil, and that induced EMF is called self-induced EMF. It is also called as back EMF. Why it is called back EMF? Because of the negative sign. And according to Lenz's law, this induced EMF opposes any variation in current flowing through that coil. If the current is increasing, the self-induced EMF decreases. If the current is decreasing, the self-induced EMF increases the current, like that. That is, if the current is increasing in that solenoid, EMF is induced. The induced EMF produces a current such that the net current is decreasing. This is one aspect. If the current is decreasing in the coil, then also EMF induced. This induced EMF produces or generates a current such that net current is increasing. So like that, this induced EMF opposes any change in the current. That's why this EMF is also called as back EMF. Let me derive what is the expression for self-inductance in the case of a solenoid. Now consider a solenoid. A solenoid of length L, radius R is the length L, radius R, and A is the area of cross section. Of the solenoid, as shown in the diagram. Now let a current I is flowing through the solenoid. Current I is flowing through the solenoid, and if N is the number of turns per unit length of the solenoid, then what is the total number of turns in that solenoid? Therefore, total number of turns in the solenoid, capital N, is equal to, it is a small letter n into L. So n is number of turns per unit length, and L is the total length of the solenoid. If you multiply small letter n and L, we will get the total number of turns in that solenoid. Now, as the current I is flowing through that solenoid, we are already familiar with that one. There is a magnetic field produced inside the solenoid along the axis of the solenoid. Now this magnetic field is uniform, and the expression for the magnetic field is mu naught N into I. Now this magnetic field is produced. Now this produced magnetic field is linked with each and every turn of the solenoid. You have a magnetic field uniform. Now that magnetic field is linked with each and every turn of the solenoid. Therefore, flux linkage, that is N into phi B. Flux linkage is N into phi B, that we know. So N phi, it is the magnetic field multiplied by the area vector. Magnetic field multiplied by the area vector. Now N, it is N into L. Now magnetic field mu naught N into I, mu naught N into I. Area, you can write it as pi r square or simply A. Pi r square ಅಂತಂದು ಬರಿಬಹುದು, A ಅಂತಂದು ಬರಿಬಹುದು. While deriving the expression for mutual inductance, we have written pi r1 square like that, because there we have to mention which area we are going to consider, whether the area of the first coil or area of the second coil. For that one, we have in that expression we have written pi r1 square. So since here only one coil is present, there is no need to write A is equal to pi r square. If you write A is equal to pi r square, even it is not also wrong. Okay. Yes. Now the flux linkage becomes N into mu naught N into N. It is N square L I A. That is the flux linkage. Now, according to the definition of self-inductance, this flux linkage N into phi B is equal to L into I. That is proportional to the current flowing through the coil I, and that proportionality constant is the self-inductance L. Now, just compare those two expressions. I will get L into I is equal to mu naught N square L I A. Therefore, I get cancels. Therefore, this one is equal to mu naught N square L A. Now, that is the expression for self-inductance. Expression for self-inductance. If they ask to write the expression in terms of total number of turns, what can be done? What can be done here? Now here small letter n is number of turns per unit length. If they ask to obtain the expression for self-inductance in terms of total number of turns in the coil, then we have to replace N is equal to capital N divided by L. That should be the replacement. If I replace like that, therefore I am getting N square, 1L get cancels, A divided by L. It is another form of self-inductance. It is in terms of total number of turns. It is in terms of number of turns per unit length. So that is the expression for self-inductance. Now we will study energy stored in a coil. Now this is similar to that of energy stored in the case of a capacitor that we have studied in the previous classes. Now here we are going to study energy stored in a coil. Now this self-inductance is also called as back EMF. Why it is called as back EMF? It opposes any variation in current. If the current is increasing, it opposes the increase. That means it decreases. If the current is decreasing, it opposes that current. That means it has to increase it. Therefore, it is called as a back EMF. Now, the self-inductance plays the role of inertia. It plays the role of electromagnetic inertia or electrical inertia as the role played by mass in mechanics. Now this mass, it plays the roles of inertia in mechanics. Because of the mass, we are getting an inertia nature. In the same concept, in the same analogy, in electrostatics or in electromagnetism, this self-inductance, it plays the role of electrical inertia. Because of the back EMF, if I want to increase the current to a maximum value, there is always a lagging of current because of back EMF. In order to maintain a maximum current, I have to do a work. In the circuit, that work is done by a battery. That's why we are connecting a battery. Therefore, work is to be needed to establish a maximum current. Now, that work done is stored as magnetic energy, potential energy, magnetic potential energy in the coil. We have to obtain the expression for the magnetic potential energy. We are already familiar with that one. Now the power is given by rate of doing work, that is dW by dt. And also in the previous chapters we have studied power is equal to the EMF, that is voltage multiplied by the current. Here it is the induced EMF into I. Since we are taking the magnitude, in this case the induced EMF, we are using this relation. The induced EMF here, it is equal to L into di by dt, where L is the self-inductance of the coil and di by dt is the rate of change of current in the coil. We have neglected the minus sign because we are taking only the magnitude. Okay. Now therefore this becomes L into I into di by dt. This is the power. Now equating these two expressions ಅನ್ನು equate ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ I am getting dW by dt is equal to L into I into di by dt. If I cancel dt, so I am getting the small amount of work done in order to establish a small amount of current di in the coil against the back EMF is equal to L into I into di. Now I have to calculate what is the total amount of work done in establishing the current from 0 to its maximum value capital I. ಇದು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಡನ್ ಆಯ್ತಿದೆ. ಡಿ ಐ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಗೈನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಇ ಎಂ ಎಫ್ ನಾನು ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಡನ್ ಡಿ ಡಬ್ಲ್ಯೂ ಇಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಎಲ್ ಇಂಟು ಐ ಇಂಟು ಡಿ ಐ. Then what is the total amount of work done in establishing the current from 0 to its maximum value I ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ I have to make an integration from 0 to I, that is dW, that is integration 0 to I, dW is L into I into di. Since L is a constant, it is the self inductance and I is the integration, I is the variable. Integration of I is, it is I square by 2. Now applying the lower limit and the upper limit, obviously lower limit is 0, therefore this amount of work done is half L I square. Now this total amount of work is done in order to establish a current from 0 to its maximum value against the back EMF. ಈ ವರ್ಕ್ ಡನ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. Now this amount of work done is stored as magnetic potential energy. Therefore, the magnetic potential energy stored in that coil in terms of self-inductance, it is half L I square. Now look at this expression. Now this expression is similar to that of what you have studied in mechanics. It is half m v square. Now this is kinetic energy in the case of mechanics. A particle of mass m moving with a velocity v, it possesses the kinetic energy. Now these two expressions resembles in each other. Therefore, the self-inductance is equivalent to mass in mechanics. Therefore, self-inductance plays the role of electrical inertia as mass plays the role of mechanical inertia in mechanics. Clear? One note we will study here. In the case of mutual induction, we have studied only the mutual inductance. We have neglected the self-inductance part also. Even though we are having two coils, in one coil current is flowing, in the another coil an EMF is induced. Because of the induced EMF, the current is flowing. And hence there is a possibility of self-inductance in the second coil also. If you consider that part, therefore, the flux linkage in the first coil is equal to M12 mutual inductance of the first coil with respect to the second coil into current flowing through the second coil. This is mutual induction part. Along with this one, there is a possibility of self-inductance. Let me write that one as M11 is called the self-inductance and current I1 is flowing due to the back EMF. That is the concept. Now, according to Faraday, law, the induced EMF in the first coil is equal to minus of d by dt of N1 phi b. Substituting the value of N1 phi b from the above expression, I am getting d by dt of M12 I2 plus M11 I1, or induced EMF in the first coil is equal to M12 mutual inductance into di2 divided by dt minus M11, that is the self inductance, di1 by dt. Now let me replace M11 by L1 because it is a self inductance. Therefore, E1 is equal to minus M12 di2 by dt minus L1 self inductance of the first coil into di1 by dt. That is the net EMF induced in the first coil. Now we will work out one problem. A. Obtain the expression for magnetic energy stored in a solenoid in terms of magnetic field. B. Area A and length L of the solenoid. Part B. How does this magnetic energy compare with the electrostatic energy stored in the case of a capacitor? That we have to work out. Solution. We know that already we have derived it, the expression for energy stored in a coil. The energy stored in a coil is given by UB is equal to half L I square. What is L? L is self-inductance and I is the current flowing through the coil. We are already familiar with the expression for self-inductance. L is equal to mu naught N square A into L. And whenever a current I is flowing through a solenoid, we have the expression for the magnetic field inside the solenoid. That is B is equal to mu naught N into I. Okay. Now from this expression, what is the current? The current I is equal to B divided by mu naught into N. So if I call this as equation 1 and let me call this as equation 2 and let me call this as equation 3. Now substituting 2 and 3 in 1. We have to substitute equation 2 and 3 in the equation for 1. We get UB is equal to half into L is mu naught N square A L I square. Now substitute here, it is B divided by mu naught N whole square. Now this is equal to half into mu naught, and here it is mu naught square. Therefore we are getting in the denominator 1 mu naught. Here it is mu naught, and square of this one, it is mu naught square. Therefore 1 mu naught get cancelled and 1 mu naught is remaining in the denominator. Now n square get cancelled. We are left with B into A into L, B into A into, that is B square, sorry, B square into A into L. Now this is the expression for magnetic energy in a coil or a solenoid in terms of magnetic field B, area of cross section A, and L is the length of the solenoid, B square. Therefore half B square AL divided by mu naught. This is first part A. Now we have to work out the second part. Now what is A? Area of cross section. What is L? It is the length of the solenoid. If I multiply A into L, I am getting volume of the solenoid. It becomes the volume of the solenoid. If I take the ratio of magnetic potential energy per unit volume, magnetic potential energy per unit volume, now that represents magnetic energy density, magnetic energy density that we have, that is similar to that of electrostatic energy density. So therefore U into B is equal to half B square, A into L becomes the volume B divided by mu naught. Now I will write small letter UB, that is magnetic potential energy per unit volume. It is called magnetic energy density is equal to UB divided by capital V. So that is equal to half B square by mu naught. Now this expression is similar to that what we have studied in electrostatics. In the case of a parallel plate capacitor, the potential energy density in the case of a parallel plate capacitor is half epsilon naught E square that we have derived in the second chapter. Now carefully compare those two expressions. Instead of epsilon naught, that is electric permittivity, here we are having in the denominator mu naught, that is magnetic permeability. There the potential energy per unit volume is directly proportional to square of the electric field. Here in the case of magnetic potential energy per unit volume is directly proportional to square of the magnetic field. So there is a resemblance between the two. Now the magnetic potential energy per unit volume is compared with electrostatic potential energy per unit volume. They are having little bit similarity. Now this is derived by taking a solenoid, and this one was derived by taking a capacitor. The same two expressions can be holds good for any other devices. It can be derived for any devices. It holds good for any devices or any cases. Now we will study the last concept in this chapter, that is AC generator. What is an AC generator? It is a machine which converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. What is an AC generator? It is a machine which converts mechanical energy to electrical energy. What is the principle of this AC generator, it works on the principle of electromagnetic induction, EMI. It works on the principle of electromagnetic induction. So here what we have there made, they are going to make is, the schematic diagram is as shown in the figure. There is a coil which is going to rotate between strong magnetic pole pieces. This orientation of the coil or change in the effective area of the coil is the basic principle to induce the variation in the magnetic flux that induces the current. The orientation of the coil or the change in the effective area of the coil is the basic principle to produce the varying magnetic field which induces the EMF and hence current in the coil. On that principle, this AC generator works. It was first invented by an Yugoslav physicist, Nikola Tesla. You are already familiar with the name Tesla, which was given the SI unit of magnetic field. Now, he was the first person who invented this machine. Nowadays, modern AC generators we are using, they are producing a power of 100 megawatt, or even we are getting 500 megawatt of powers from these AC generators. Now let me come to the construction part. What does this AC generator consist of? Now as shown in the figure, it contains a rectangular coil which is fixed to a rotor shaft. It is fixed to a rotor shaft. Now that coil is made to rotate between two strong pole pieces, NS. Okay, and the ends of the coils are connected to two slip rings, and which they are connected to two carbon brushes, and from that one we are taking an alternating current. Now onwards, that rectangular coil which is rotating between the strong pole pieces is called as armature. Armature is nothing but that rectangular coil which is rotating between the two strong pole pieces. Now if A is the area of cross section of that rectangular coil and B is the uniform magnetic field applied along that coil, then obviously we will get a magnetic flux of phi B is equal to B into A cos theta. Here we are getting this cos theta term. Why? Since the orientation of the coil is making certain angle with the direction of the magnetic field, therefore we have introduced this cos theta term. Now theta is the angle between the area vector and the field vector. The coil is so placed that its plane is along the field direction. Now that is the construction part. Next we move on to the theory part of this AC generator theory. Now let us assume that the coil is rotating with an angular velocity of omega. Because of that rotation along the rotor shaft, that is the axle, there is an angular displacement theta of the coil. Now this angular displacement is with respect to the magnetic field direction. At any time t is equal to 0, let me take theta is equal to 0. And the magnetic flux linked with the coil at any instant of time is given by phi b is equal to b into a into cos theta. That we are already familiar. If the coil is having single term, this is the expression. If the coil has capital N number of turns, then what is the flux linkage? That is N into phi b is equal to NBA cos theta. Since omega is the angular velocity and theta is the angular displacement, we have the relation between the two. Omega is equal to theta by t, or theta is equal to omega into t. So therefore, the flux linkage of the coil becomes NBA cos omega t. That expression we have got. This is the flux linkage. As and when the coil is rotated, the flux linkage is going to changing with respect to the time. This varying flux linkage induces an EMF in the coil. This variation in the flux linkage induces an EMF in the coil according to Faraday. Now, according to Faraday law, we have an induced EMF E that is equal to minus of d by dt of N into phi b, flux linkage. The rate of change of flux linkage induces an EMF, therefore E is equal to minus of d by dt of N into phi b. Substitute the value of N into phi b here. I will get the induced EMF is equal to minus of d by dt into N into phi b, it is NBA cos omega t. NBA cos omega t. Now make the derivative of that one, minus of NBA. Derivative of cos omega t is minus sin omega t. Derivative of cos is minus sin, that we are familiar in mathematics. And derivative of omega t is omega. Derivative of omega t is omega. Therefore, the induced EMF is minus of minus, it becomes plus N B A omega into sin omega t. That is the expression for EMF induced in the case of a generator coil. Now this part is constant, N, B, A and omega. N is the total number of turns, B is the uniform magnetic field, and A is the area of cross section of the coil, and omega, if it is rotating with a constant angular speed, then this term is a constant, and that term we call it as amplitude of the induced EMF, which is the maximum EMF induced in the coil is equal to sin of omega t. Okay, this is the expression where we have got E naught is equal to N B A omega is amplitude or maximum EMF induced. Now, since we are having sine term, the value of sine is maximum at 90 degree, that is positive maximum, and minimum at 180 degree. Once again maximum at 270 degree, but it is in the negative maximum, and minimum at the 0 degree. So since the induced EMF has two maximum possible values, that is for sin 90 we are having plus E, we call it as E naught. For sin 270 degree we are having minus E naught, that is EMF, final EMF, plus 1 minus 1. Therefore the induced EMF or the current has positive maximum value and negative maximum value. As the current is changing its direction, the current periodically changes its direction because of the sine term, as and when the coil rotates. This current is called alternating current, AC, alternating current. Now one more thing, we know that the angular frequency is given by 2 pi nu, where nu is frequency of revolution of the coil. Then the EMF, induced EMF, can also be written as E is equal to E naught into sine of 2 pi nu into T. This is another expression for induced EMF in the case of a generator. Now frequency of rotation, this one is the frequency of revolution of the coil. In India or Asian countries, this frequency of revolution is 50 Hertz, and hence the AC current what we are getting in for the household things, it is having 50 Hertz. But in the case of Western countries, this frequency of revolution is 60 Hertz. That coil rotates 60 times in 1 second. That is the meaning. In India or Asian countries, that coil rotates 50 times in 1 second. That is regarding the frequency of AC. Now that is the theory part. Now look here carefully. That coil is rotated by any mechanical means. For example, if the coil is made to rotate by using water which is stored in a reservoir and passed through larger pipes and made to fall to rotate that coil, then that type of power station we call it as hydroelectric power station. If the coil is rotated by a steam produced by burning the coal, coal burn ಮಾಡಿ water boil ಮಾಡಿ steam use ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು coil rotate ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, that power generating station is called as thermal power plant. If we replace the coal by using a nuclear energy, then that power station we call it as nuclear power plant. The mechanism of all these generators are same. The only thing is the source used to rotate that coil are different. If you use the water, then it is called hydroelectric power. If you use the coal, then it is called thermal power. And if you use nuclear energy, then it is called as nuclear power plant. Now that is regarding the AC generator. And look at the diagram, how AC is generated, how the waves, sine wave is getting. Now initially that rectangular coil, now it is called as armature, is perpendicular and it is denoted by PQRS. Now PQRM is downwards and PQRM is in the downwards and RSRM is in the upwards. That is the initial condition, that theta is equal to 0. What is theta? It is the angle between that area vector. In that case, the angle between the area vector and the magnetic field, they are parallel to each other. Therefore, theta is 0. As and when the coil is rotating in the clockwise direction, clockwise direction. Now PQ moves upwards and RS, which is in the upper, it is downwards, it is turning downwards. As and when it is rotated through an angle of 90 degree as shown in the second diagram. Now the armature plane is parallel to the field direction. Our area vector is perpendicular to the field direction. Look at the second diagram. Then there is a maximum flux change and hence the induced EMF reaches a maximum value at 90 degree or at a time T/4 as represented in the second diagram. As and when the coil further rotates, the flux variation goes on decreasing because the orientation of the coil is decreasing and the induced EMF also decreases. When the coil is rotated through 180 degree as shown in the third diagram, that means the plane of the coil is parallel to the, that is plane of the coil is perpendicular to the field direction. The EMF induced becomes 0. Now the further rotation of the coil, that is above 180 degree, that two ends of the coil gets shifted with respect to the slip ring and hence the EMF is increasing in the negative direction. At T/2 EMF is 0. Now we are further rotating the coil, therefore at 270 degree as shown in the next diagram, at 270 degree, once again the plane of the coil becomes parallel to the field direction. There is a maximum flux change and hence a maximum EMF is induced in the negative direction. You have a negative direction, that is at time 3T/4 as shown in that diagram. Now the coil is further rotated. Coil is further rotated to 360 degree. That means plane of the coil is perpendicular to the field direction, which is similar to that of the first diagram. Then also the EMF becomes 0. Now carefully look at those 5 figures. With that one you can easily understand how an EMF is induced with respect to the rotation of the coil, how it becomes positive maximum, reaches 0 and becomes negative maximum and reaches 0. That is depicted in, that is explained with this figure. Now that completes this very interesting chapter, electromagnetic induction. Now we will work out one problem. Kamala pedals a stationary bicycle. The pedals of the bicycle are attached to a 100-turn coil of area 0.1 meter square. The coil rotates at half a revolution per second and it is placed in a uniform magnetic field of 0.01 Tesla, perpendicular to the axis of rotation of the coil. What is the maximum voltage generated in the coil? Kamala is pedaling the cycle. The pedals are attached to a coil, area of cross section, all these things are given. We will list out what are the given things. Now given a 100-turn coil, number of turns is given, that is 100 turns. Area of cross section of the coil is given, that is 0.10 meter square. Coil rotates half a revolution per second. Therefore, the frequency of revolution is 0.5 hertz. Half a revolution per second, that is 0.5 hertz frequency of revolution. Uniform magnetic field is given. Now uniform magnetic field B is equal to 0.01 Tesla. The maximum EMF, that means amplitude you have to work out. Now we are familiar with the expression for amplitude or maximum EMF. It is equal to NBA omega. That is the amplitude or maximum EMF induced. Now number of turns is 100. B magnetic field 0.01 and area of cross section it is 0.1. Omega it is 2 pi nu. So omega is equal to 2 pi nu. That relation we are using. Therefore 2 into 3.14 into nu, frequency of revolution, it is 0.5. Therefore E naught is equal to, simply work out, 2 into 0.5 it is 1, 100 into 0.01 it is 1. Therefore 3.14 into 0.1 it is 0.314 volts. A simple calculation. Now this is the maximum amount of volt, maximum amount of EMF generated in this case. Now how can you increase this one? How can you increase the EMF? By increasing the number of turns, or by increasing the field, or by increasing the area of cross section, or by increasing the frequency of revolution. That means if you pedal faster and faster, we will get more and more EMF. If you increase the number of turns, the EMF becomes small. If you increase the strength of the magnetic field, then also we will get maximum value. If you increase the current, if you increase the area of cross section, then also we will increase the induced EMF. Now in the previous case, E is equal to E naught into sine of omega t that we have derived. It is the instantaneous value. It is the EMF induced at any given time t heli. E naught is the maximum value. You should remember that one.